Yeah, shit, Don Toliver, Baron Samedi's highest self, and that Maria, that higher self of that woman here, she's off camera. Trying to manipulate what I have to say. She plans on, I'm going to say something right now, putting evil shit in my consciousness once I'm done with this video and fucking with me. But anyways, I'm just trying to figure out the truth. That's why I went to them people in the first place. And I'm just going to say it's a lot of deception going on around me because I was just trying to figure out the truth. And I'm going to say this right now. I don't believe in pushing motherfuckers' agendas. I got Baron Samedi's highest self who saw my parents going back to that August the 22nd, 2022 timeline being taken and murdered in the astral plane. From what I understand, they got taken out of their bodies on July 23rd or died in their sleep in that timeline and given as a sacrifice. Supposedly it's really for Maria Tavarez to get I know I sound crazy when I do these videos, but I'm going to say this right now. I'm inundated by evil shit. And the only things that I got to show me the truth are them so-called roach parasites or roach spirits, as I call them respectfully, because they're the only things that's neutral in this whole situation. That's been showing me legitimately what's going on. Early this morning, I woke up and I heard Don Toliver, Baron Samedi's highest self, basically they got kicked out of my consciousness, or I take that back. Don Toliver removed Baron Samedi's entity attachment out of my consciousness so I could be taken over by Maria Tavarez, that woman's highest self who also wants to sacrifice me. I'm going to say this right now. That evil-ass motherfucker, he looks like the KFC owner. That's how Baron Samedi, Billy Baile's highest self, looks. Don Toliver even wanted to kick him out. And because of the power that, wetbags have, work with them and give voodoo to them. Because I believe, the marionette, all of that's under them. Anyways, with that being said, he was trying to set it up that I make this woman look like the bad guy and put all this shit on her, woo-doo-woo-doo-woo. When all I'm a very fair-minded person. I'm all about being the truth. Yes, I'm a racist motherfucker, but I'm racist towards every fucking body to some degree. But I call shit out as I see it, and I pride myself on that. And, as a matter of fact, when I was merely thinking that, I could feel him meddling, Don Toliver meddling with my entity attachments to take that away, just like Maria Tavarez was trying to take away, because you have entity attachments in you that's placed, just like with your personality. It reminds me of a Time magazine, whatchamacallit, that I read, where basically they talk about how within your genetics you have different genes and alleles for different personality traits and so forth. So it's the same thing in the spirit plane, which is spiritual DNA and, even physical, that has ramifications in the spirit plane, going down the line. So anyways, he started fucking with an entity attachment, talking about, this is some very evil fucking shit that I'm under. I can't stand Don Toliver. I hate the fact that he set this shit up for me to get soul swapped. I actually did articles on it. You can read it below in the past. It's in the Ethiopian women. He set this shit for me to get soul swapped. You know, he had an entity called Alex Nascimento or Alex Broadmare come in and remove my whole soul, from what I understand, which was still at that place, the Manor at Pico Boulevard. Here's a picture of it. Remember? And soul swap with a girl from Destrehan, Louisiana. None of this I gave permission to. And I could hear, because we all have entity attachments connecting us to God and so forth within us, you know, say, hey, you know, she didn't agree to this shit, so you can't do this to her. You know, from what I understand, I think as per a soul contract with them, I don't know how true it is. I don't believe it to be true. You know, if I do something wrong or something, they could put me in hell realms. But, you know, years ago, and I talked about it, I got a visit. Let me see if I could conjure up the video. For shit. All the motherfuckers with, remember the rednecks were trying to talk about, oh, you got a solar breaker. They had a bunch of, we had to be, okay, Dennis Leary brought the girl, or me, had me accompany him to see the girl go through a warehouse. So they opened up the warehouse door, and there were, at the front, a bunch of satanic looking, demonic, you know, like them little, not God kids per se, but kind of like them little satanic, because there's a difference. Them type of little kids, they got spiky hair, you know, like what you saw back in the 90s. And I keep hearing this fucking voice. I heard that motherfucker at the ocean before talking shit. It's I don't know who the fuck, I don't know if it's a real person or But I will be, especially if I'm drunk, I will really be hearing this motherfucker. But anyways, getting back to what I was saying, the Hispanic girl goes into the bank, right? So she's greeted by those satanic looking kids, along with a bunch of other people who are to go through that obstacle course as well. And so they open up the door, and then the first one, they have to evade all of these store employees at a department store who are trying to kill them. And they look like cardboard cutouts. Now, I've seen both in real time in the third dimension, as well as when I've astral projected, these cardboard cutout looking entities. I think there's some type of demon. They look like cardboard cutouts. But it seemed like, okay, from what I saw with this girl, they had these entities that were following her, you know, like they had one guy in a security suit, you know, like what you saying, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to rape you, and he didn't have any emotion. He looked like a cardboard cutout saying this shit. No blinking of the eyes, none of that, just mouth movement. And so that's when she takes off and flees, and a bunch of those entities start following in tow, trying to kill her as well. Then there's a second obstacle course that seems to be conducted in the real world, where they have a giant bald-headed man who surfaces in this river, this water, and chases all of the combatants, or rather, you know, the really combatants, the contestants, quote-unquote contestants. And he has a big head in this astral version, chasing them and devouring them. Now I can see that over here on the other side, he's manipulating that over there with a voodoo doll. So it's a person over here who's doing it with a voodoo doll. It was a big bald-headed white dude. Then the third, I don't remember a third. I swear there was a third, but I don't remember. When they make it out, I saw a bunch of people outside of it, including a young Hispanic lady who runs this sample birthday shop, who had she had a pleasant aura around her. I didn't see anything or feel anything negative. I think her aura was yellow at the time when I saw it, and she released this yellow canary bird. And she was looking up, and she had a lot of life in her. And my friend, he can see, but I don't think that he's really that good at the gift of discernment. Because see, when you open up your third eye too much, you know, like in his case, his third eye is way too open, it kind of creates an imbalance, and, you know, you see shit, but you don't have that discernment, that intuitive discernment, that having your crown chakra opens you up to heaven. So I saw her release the yellow canary into the sky, and the first sense that came to my mind was that she was trying to maybe perhaps rescue the young girl and help her out. And I just saw a little purple thing in my hand just now. It's both, you know, my crown and my third eye is open. You know, I got like 4 cases to work on it. But that poor child, I don't know if she's still alive or not, the little fat Hispanic girl, has a hellish ass afterlife to look forward to. See, people be thinking this shit is a motherfucking game. It ain't no motherfucking joke. At the end of the day, visit from Santa Muerte herself, who was showing me a vision of a young Mexican girl who got snatched up by that entity, Alex Broadmere, Alex Nacimiento, that Billy Baille, Baron Samedi, and mainly his higher self, Don Toliver, brought within my consciousness to fuck me up. They use it to fuck up your consciousness and pull you into hell realms. And he was using it to block, block my ability, block my blessings and block anybody else's ability to see that was, that he was giving my blessings away to other people. As a matter of fact, he was putting the people of Xavier Prep here 97 up until 2001, you know, bullies and all of that in my timelines to steal all my blessings, give it to them. He was putting them as my ancestors. He kicked out my original ancestors when they took a major soul piece of mine on the right-hand side. I talked about it on my blog here. On my 16th birthday, him putting, you know, I think, what they call them, illuminati level, dark T-Rex looking reptilians in charge of my consciousness that were hooded. They were wearing robes. And it's funny because I talked about a reptilian on the right side. And was basically setting it up because your ancestors supposed to be in them timelines to protect your blessings, setting up for all my shit to get stolen. And one night when I was shown by them roach attachments, them roach spirits, what I had lost, that's why I keep saying Billy Baille or Baron Samedi's real name and his higher self, Don Toliver. I don't want to fuck with that. I don't want to work with that. Which brings me to something else. I can't stand that motherfucker because he's the one, you know, even going back a couple of months when I was in Santa Monica, Billy Baille, Baron Samedi had me reduced down to my subtle body. But getting back to that, before I begin on that, getting back to that Mexican girl, I had a vision of that girl going through all sorts of obstacle courses, being devoured by a giant head that was Alex Nacimiento's, kidnapped and going through hell. And that night, Don Toliver and Baron Samedi, Billy Baille's higher self, came to me and tried to appease me for putting the video out. Because, you know, from what I understand, you can use 694 hertz, 695 hertz, or just your third eye to see. They orchestrated that shit, from what I understand. All I'm trying to do is get to the truth of what's happening and just get out of a very horrific situation. Like I said, the motherfuckers that are supposed to be in charge and the motherfucker that's trying to take over, all this shit that's in don't have my best interest at heart. It's all about casting me away from God. But anyways, I don't like motherfuckers trying to get you to perpetuate an agenda. This motherfucker, when I woke up, was like, I want you to do a video putting them out there, putting Maria Tavarez, don't talk to wetbacks, woo woo. Like, I'm not going to listen to you because those were the people that was helping me out. I know those the motherfuckers that cursed me, but again, I'm a very fair-minded person. At the beginning of this curse, those were the motherfuckers helping me out. They were, you know, even allowed me to connect with their gods because, see, when you're crowned, like in my case, I was a sacrifice to, and I was also crowned at birth. He set the stage for me to be stuck in poverty and to go through hell all throughout my motherfucking life and not to have a silver lining, which I was supposed to have in 2016. He set the tone for me to, he set the tone for me. He's removing entity attachments right now as I talk, so I forget certain things, pivotal things. From what I understand, I think he's working with that Maria Tavarez. But I'm trying to remember exactly what I wanted to say. He was making me forget by controlling my entity attachments. Anyways, you know, it's funny, too. I saw a guy on the bus today who reminded me of my father, and I saw going back to that August 22nd, 2022 timeline because of all this shit. Maria Tavarez mainly, who sold my parents as a sacrifice. My parents were being cut up, you know, taking over one of my road spirits. She had removed an entity attachment, connected me to their soul consciousness last night. And from what I understand, in the higher self of mine, you know, you have different higher selves within yourself that come in and control certain things. I had a higher self. You know, it's dependent on the spirits that control you. come in that's connected to that child spirit guide and tell him, Don Toliver, if it wasn't for you being so greedy and wanting to covet that girl's spiritual abilities, she wouldn't be in this situation. And just now I had that Maria Tavarez. Like I said, I think she's working with that Don Toliver. I heard that in the spirit plane. And fucking with my entity attachments and just causing me all sorts of hell. But anyways, his objective, Don Toliver's objective, is to keep me out that timeline and keep me as a sacrifice and keep me stuck in hell realms so he can covet my spiritual powers and abilities. And with that being said, from what I understand, they're the ones who set the stage for all of this. Going back many, many months, when entity attachments of my ancestors, some of my real ancestors, the British, were coming through, they were in the process of removing that entity attachment, Alex Nacimiento, or Alex Broadmere, and allowing me to get back to that timeline. You know, I went to them motherfucking wetbacks at 8704 Broadway Street by 87th and 87th and Broadway just to get a neutral opinion of what's going on. And it's fucked up because one of them have an evil ass higher self. Every time I try to be fair-minded within my consciousness and try to figure out the truth, this bitch comes in and starts fucking shit up for me. So that's why I kept questioning, wondering, what the fuck is going on with that? And every time I do, it's irritating, you know. She'll fuck with my entity attachments, use them to fuck me up. And like I say, Don Toliver and Baron Samedi, Billy Baille, are supposed to be in charge of my entity attachments. So why are they not maintaining the integrity or the congruity of my body? And it's because, you know, like I witnessed many, many months before with Billy Baille, Baron Samedi's entity attachment coming in and stealing my shit, they would only do the bare minimum. And just like he did when I was under Billy Baille, Baron Samedi, and Don Toliver's curse, allow shit, energy vampires, to come in. And from what I understand, it was a lot worse under them than what it is here. It's a lot more superficial. And that's because I have to keep my mind in my consciousness and perspicacious within it so that I can make sure no evil shit, you know, it's like, you know, nobody should have to be in their consciousness. That's schizophrenia. To make sure that the congruency of their energy body is intact. That's for them to do, and Billy Baille and Don Toliver don't have my highest interest at heart. The original Baron Samedi doesn't. I'm never going to put that man's name out there. And it's fucked up because I had to put him in his place, because back when I was living at that place on Figueroa, he was fucking with me and trying to take advantage of me not saying his name. Same thing with Don Toliver. That's why I keep saying his name. I almost wondered, and I kept hearing, if, you know, from what I understand, they planned on keeping me out that timeline and using Maria Tavarez as an entity attachment to fuck with me and keep me out that timeline. That's why I'm all about trying to secure the truth of what's going on and getting a neutral opinion. But anyways, going back to when I was very young, Don Toliver and Billy Baille, they had me in a shopping cart when I was a baby, set the course for me to be under heavy curses. Now, I forgot the date, but I was working with, all I had was a child spirit guide to work with. And that child was doing the best that she could, despite getting opposition from Don Toliver, Billy Baille, Baron Samedi, who kept fucking with the last consciousness, because Billy Bailey's entity attachment will remove all of my consciousnesses, and, you know, including the one that was under him, out of my fucking body, and be giving it to all of these other people, you know, especially the people that curse me. That's why I don't have any fealty to these motherfuckers. From what I understand, they got to deal with them to fuck with me, just like this Maria Tavarez. Which, the little bit of a spirit team I have, I had a higher self who was like a young child who was helping me out. And Don Toliver got rid of her. And she was being taken over by that wetback Maria Tavarez. I was using 6,000 hertz frequency. I hate to say it, but it works on them people to get that motherfucker out. 6,000 hertz frequency is a very powerful frequency. It's an all-around frequency, as it repels, from what I understand, negative spirits. It's also, from what I understand, I learned in the spirit plane from one of, what's his name? One of Hitler's associates I had a crush on when I was a kid, Baldwin Chirac, that white people vibrate at 6,000 hertz frequency. And I believe it's a frequency that keeps you out the spirit plane, if I'm not mistaken, but it protects you. But it's an all-around good, great frequency that repels evil spirits and keeps evil spirits out of your body. And I hate to say it, and Don Toliver only wanted me to talk about this too. I say, no, I'm going to talk about the truth. Get your evil ass on, because you don't have my best interest at heart. I'm not going to push an agenda that's for your benefit while you're doing shit that goes against me. But anyways, 6,000 hertz frequency also helps rebuild you. And I had some Hispanic women, some cops and stuff in the astral plane, show me that frequency. Use 6,000 hertz in conjunction with 12,000 hertz. And I have that frequency on my channel, but make your own, because like I said, I got a lot of evil shit. 1 million hertz plus 12,000 hertz. 12,000 hertz actually helps to quell consciousness. It's very good for rebuilding you. But 6,000 hertz is an all-around good frequency. I had two Mexican Hispanic cops in the astral plane play that for me one night just to help rebuild me after I drunk, because they knew, due to the entity attachments I have of Billy Baille and Baron Samedi and Don Toliver and them harvesting off of me. My Egyptian ancestors were showing me who they were, constantly taking from my body and giving it to this person that's occupying my body. In that August the 22nd, 2022 timeline, from what I understand, she got impregnated by Lil Wayne. Like I said, I believe in telling the whole truth. I don't like being casted in a timeline, a series of timelines, because in the roach realm, it's like Groundhog Day. You in the shadow of timelines. And that Maria Tavarez is trying to manipulate things, like make it seem like entity attachments of my parents are the real thing, and it's not. That was from being in the shadow realm of the roach realm. It's like the ground basis. They call it Narnia in the astral plane, for building your spirit body, your astral body. Now, with that being said, their entity, Alex Broadmare or Alex Nacimiento, my higher self was showing me many months before. I believe it was brought in by Billy Baille, Baron Samedi. Or, I got an officer, Sereno, for LAPD Wilshire. I also got Pineda, who looks like the Elephant Man here, going back to that August 22nd, 2022 timeline. I'm just trying to figure out the genesis of it. My ancestors were putting me back, and they were casting out that evil-ass entity. As a matter of fact, and I believe it was under the control of Tavarez, they removed, one of them roach spirits was trying to fight, for control over their consciousness and keep that motherfucker from taking her over, and I have to be concerned about that so I can make sure I'm dealing with the right entity and getting my shit back. And that bitch, or Don Toliver, just broke it. Fucked them up. You can use 3517 hertz, 3571 hertz to repair spirit body. because that's been the only fair, neutral thing I've had around me since this curse. They were in the process of rebuilding me. And it was Don Toliver and them's entity attachment that put me in a blender in the spirit plane and put me in the hell realm. And I forgot exactly what it was. And tore up my spirit body to where, and I've been stuck ever since, reduced down to only my soul consciousness. And they keep reducing it, you know, whenever I drink due to urges that's caused by the Alex Nacimiento motherfucker. With that being said, the Alex Nacimiento entity, when they saw Mexicans in the spirit plane coming to help my motherfucking ass out, they started putting entity attachments to make me hate them people. And again, I was always a bigoted, racist motherfucker, but I just speak the truth. Like, for instance, you know, I'm not going to lie when I say, and I'm not one of these people to push a fucking agenda when I know what is real is real. They do, in fact, I'm going to say this right now. There's a reason why y'all don't like to cavort with outside of Santa Muerte. Just stick with that. She's part of y'all oversoul consciousness. And she's beautiful. She's fair as a motherfucker. I love her. She was the only guide to help me out during this. And Billy Baille and Don Toliver tried to turn me against her. She was helping me when I needed my cell phone repaired, get that shit repaired, and trying to keep me out of hell realms. But, you know, the problem is that, you know, she connects to people's higher self to have any meat. And Maria Tavarez took advantage of that. And motherfuckers will use that against you. And her followers will oftentimes, without her oversight, you know, I had to come and, you know, say, nah, we're going to kick this bitch out. You know, my whatchamacallit, Maria Tavarez. The motherfuckers, her followers will act using their higher self that's connected to a network, a spiritual network. They will act as judge, jury, and executioner, and that's scary. I mean, you know, you have motherfuckers like Billy Baille and Baron Samedi who have their own consciousnesses, because just as I said before, like with Oshunya Meya, they actually existed as real living people. And the real one, he was in the fucked up furniture room, but he was fair. He was fair, but not all the way. Anyways, Maria Tavarez, using her higher self that's connected to it, again, she's connected to the oversoul Mexican consciousness. She used that to act as judge, jury, and executioner and put me up as a sacrifice for her. And like I say, something weird happened on May the 1st, 2024, because I've just been feeling like I'm in between worlds, and I've been seeing things to indicate that. Like, for instance, seeing white faces superimposed on people, hearing Aztec death whistles, having a guy, when I was in a conversation with him recently, say, I'm an entity attachment. You know, when you're in the realm full of entity attachments, you're in the in-between. And I've seen that with other people. You know, people driving, all of a sudden they look asleep at the wheel. That's one right there. They're asleep at the wheel. So something isn't right. Something ain't been right since then. And I saw a black cube next to my consciousness and all of that. And at one point, Don Toliver and them, you know, in the spirit plane, feeding off my energy body as an energy source. With that being said, I don't feel like I'm fully in the world of the living. And I heard stuck in my consciousness or stuck. I'm going to say this right now. They put that Dan Arsienica Dubbick. You know, my Archangel Michael has been keeping them off of me on my ass. I saw my dad tied to it and everything else. You can use 6,000 hertz, but I don't know what works on them in the physical. Going back to that May the 1st, 2024 timeline, I know 5429 hertz, 5249 hertz, 6,000 hertz. But there's other 6,000 hertz you can use. I may just play it in here to thwart them, but they'll try to turn it against you, but they really can't. That can be used. Here, I think I'll play it. That can be used to get rid of them. You know, from what I understand, I was shown that I have entity attachments of the Illuminati. I saw Amshel Rothschild and all of that. They were fucking with, you know, they planned on turning my dad into a demon. And they did. And I saw what I believe to be an entity attachment of him on the bus today. And they did the same thing to my mother. And I remember at the start of Astroworld seeing the pig monster. And from what I found out, that was going to become my mother as per this curse. And I've been trying to avert that as much as I can. From what I understand, in Sean Corey Carter's consciousness, and from what I've been seeing, they've been using a Rubik's Cube of some sort, you know, some type of thing that tricks you from seeing where they truly accurately are to deceive me into not being able to get them back. And all I have are these road spirits to try to get them back. Don Toliver's, Baron Samedi's highest self, knew where they were, Don Toliver. You know, as a matter of fact, last night, for spiritual protection, he kept putting that pedophile entity attachment that's designed to keep me out that timeline, Seamus Anderson, you know, on me to keep the integrity of my soul consciousness intact, which that motherfucker was tormenting me and everything, like I say. I'm in a very fucked up situation where it's everything, you know, it's a bunch of evil entities that's against me, that's supposed to be with you, but they're actually, in fact, against you, and they're working against you. And doing the bare minimum to keep you alive while basically beating you down and keeping you down. That's what Don Toliver, Billy Baille was doing until I started putting his name out there. Maria Tavarez, whose lower self I went to for help, and from what I understand, she signed, and I was shown it as well, on March the 23rd, 2024, a soul contract with them. You know, I got an Ingrid Hybrid or Rasmussen or whatever. I haven't heard it, left on the voicemails that they left me. Signed a soul contract. Supposedly wrote attachments of them. She's supposed to be married to a half wetback or some shit like that. Half cracker, half wetback. You know, it's like I'm being stuck in a very unfair, fucked up situation that's just designed to hold me down. You know, and again, I went to that lady for help. And I wanted to get a fair opinion, a second opinion, a third opinion outside of what I got, because I don't trust none of the shit that's around me. I cannot trust it because it's not working or amicable outside of ancestors, which again, Billy Baille and them cast it out of me as part of their curse. As a matter of fact, them motherfuckers had my ancestors sign a soul contract not to help me out in the future. And from what I understand, Don Toliver saw all of this shit coming. And he set up the stage for all of this shit happening, including Mexicans fucking with me in the astral plane, them people. So they set the stage for all of this shit. So I don't just put blame on one group of motherfuckers that's treating me unfair and then cape for other motherfuckers that's not, you know, that's doing the same. You know, I don't protect my bullies. And that's what Don Toliver and Billy Baille are to me. They're bullies. Spiritual bullies who, you know, I was even told Billy Baille was laughing while in Ingrid Hybrid's consciousness at what's going on. Or Rasmussen, while connected to their consciousness. Roach attachments of. So I got fucked when I was trying to get a neutral opinion of what's going on. You know, knowing how these motherfuckers play around with entity attachments, that's why I was trying to really figure out what the deal is with this Maria Tavarez. From what I understand, she a racist motherfucker who's the highest self of the lady who gave me a tarot reading. Here's her, and I think this is her husband. You know, I even at one point had Billy Baille tell me, oh, you got to go in there, the roach attachment. You know, Billy Baille tell me, oh, you got to, well, I take that back. It was his actual self. Tell me, oh, you got to go in there and raise hell. And I'm like, this is not only schizophrenia, but this is how people whose heads are fucked up, their consciousness are fucked up. This is how they get started looking like nutcases. Unless them people physically, logically did something to me, I'm not going to do shit to them people. You got me fucked up. That's crazy. That's psychotic. Now I'm just going to go in there, see what's going on, and, you know, woke out. Like I said, I'm just all about getting to the genesis of what's happening. Because they were the ones trying to get me to fuck with them damn people, you know, putting entity attachments and making me not like them people and all of that. I even had Alex Nascimento bring that dubic in of Dan Arcianica, who's attached to Mike Hernandez's consciousness. From what I understand, that's one of his ancestors. And Billy Baille and Don Toliver are protecting him going back to that August 22nd, 2022 timeline. As a matter of fact, his highest self came the other day, yesterday, when I was being put back together. It kills me how these motherfuckers feel entitled to boss me around in my own head and tell me to carry out their agenda. Meanwhile, I'm being done wrong by them. And I'm supposed to go against motherfuckers that might have my best interest at heart and do, you know, wrong and be, you got me fucked up. Don Toliver and Billy Baille, I'm, you know, fuck that voodoo shit. Fuck you. I'm not going to do that because you're energy harvesting off of me. You're allowing me to be astral-bodied harvested. And now you're making me schizophrenic. And just like they did before, trapped in the realm, trapped in timelines, where I'm a fucking loser, not just that, where I'm trying to figure it out. Something weird is going on, something I don't fucking like. And I'm being fucked with by something evil. That Maria Tavarez, I mean, you know, I had somebody come at me the other day when I was walking because my energy body is all out of fucking whack. It's open. It's technically open. You know, due to Don Toliver and Billy Baille and almost Maria Tavarez being in control of my entity attachments. The road spirits are trying their best to get a handle on it. And had somebody try to put something on me and through 6,000 hertz, it was a weird man. Because I'm opening people's higher to higher selves, I got attacked. But I was able to cast it out using that. But when my ancestors were in the process, I even had the little child spirit guide that Don Toliver get rid of. Look at that Alex Nascimento broadmare on the face of him. He's trying to get rid of it right now. And say, that's a curse. I'm going to show you. I talked about him back in 2020, right before this curse hit, 2022. Reina. When she looked at him, she said, that's a curse if I've ever seen one. Because this motherfucker This is how fucked up. This is why I don't work with, or I don't like. That's why I keep putting their names out there. They don't want me to, but I keep doing it. Billy Baille and Don Toliver. They set it up for me to have that evil ass entity in me and give out all my blessings to people who wronged me. Like at Danny's Palm Bar and Grill, there was an Italian woman who was the first one to attack me. And back then, I wasn't the warrior that I am. I would have whipped the bitch ass now. But that motherfucker was giving out to the people who raped me and all of that shit, all my blessings. That's what Don Toliver and Baron Samedi were doing. Out of severe, sincere jealousy. That's why I keep my name in their mouth. How you doing, sir? That's why I keep putting them out there. Because they don't have my best interest at heart. Because all they do is work with people who hurt me. You know, as soon as I said hi to the little Mexican guy up there, all of a sudden, all my shit left. I wonder if it's Don Toliver and Maria Tavarez that orchestrated that. All my consciousness almost left my fucking body and I could feel it. And Don Toliver keeps acting like he's the only thing that can help me out. You know, that Alex Broodmare, that's his real name. But these evil motherfuckers would give my blessings away to people who wrong me and take away my silver lining to come up after I went through so much adversity. That's why I hate Don Toliver and Baron Samedi, Billy Baille to this day, and I keep saying their real names. Because I'm not going to get any rightful justice through them. Or get my shit back. I don't care what the fuck it does to voodoo. I don't give a fuck.